Hey, welcome back to Your Marvelous Mind. I'm your host Kartik, and today what's interesting is that what I have stored for you in this episode is that persistence is something that we all must develop in ourselves, and it has been a life altering characteristic which I developed in me, which provided me the ability to see life from a different place altogether. I have been a completely different person since I have developed this great quality persistence. It was something that I asked myself one day, and that was the time when I was going through some difficult, challenging moments in my life where I was forced to ask this question because I had decided to do something, and it was that what would my life look like if I became persistent? And the astonishing answer that came back to me was that I'd overcome anything. I'd overcome everything. And since that day, I made sure that whatever it was that I was doing, I would set this one skill in my consciousness, regardless of whatever it is that I'm chasing. Whatever goal that I'm going after, I made it a point to make persistence the backbone of whatever it is that I'm going after. And that then provided me with some results that it also helped me to develop other skills such as patience. It helped me to develop patience in me. It provided me with the inward courage to face the world with what the thoughts. See, sometimes we get knocked out by the inner critic that's there, always trying to say what's going to happen then, what's going to happen now if you go about life like that. And so what I did was, because I had my goal in mind and because I was persistent towards it, I found out ways. When we figure out ways to achieve something, what happens is that if we deliberately search and seek to find what we want in life, then what happens is that through some miraculous power, we end up finding whatever it is that's needed to develop that quality in us. And so what was necessary for me while I was going after my goal was that I had to develop an inward courage, because I had to face my own thoughts. I had to become brave in the understanding that somehow I was not a very positive person. I had some fears, I had some doubts, I had some worries, and those all had to be taken care of. Those all had to be challenged, and I was challenging them persistently with the ability to tell myself that I have to get what I want, because I realized that in order to get what I want, I'm going to have to be persistent. And sometimes we don't understand that persistence is another word for faith. I think Earl Nightingale said that persistence is nothing but another word for faith. So if you believe in something so strongly that the faith in you is such that you cannot allow yourself to go through life without that what you want. I wanted to be a motivational speaker all my life. I have been allowing myself to develop me for 11 years. I was going through some difficult times in my own life. It's been about 6 years, but I never stopped working on myself. I always kept on running towards what I wanted. I always kept on going towards what I wanted. And it's something that can change our lives if we end up developing this one quality in us. And there's a saying by Tobias Wolff, and he says that we are made to persist. That's how we find out who we are. And if we develop that one quality in us, in our mental makeup, then what's going to happen is that it's going to position us for a relentless search for the question of, is it possible to have that which you so strongly and truly desire? And when you get to that question, the answer is definitely going to come yes from inside you, because you see, the basis of persistence stands at that gate where it says, of course it's possible. It's possible if you truly desire it with all your heart. And if you throw your entire self to that which you want, all it requires is the right understanding. All it requires is your right understanding towards that goal, that achieving that thing that you want. And the understanding is going to build in you the strength, the mental strength. You will be able to become so strong internally that no thoughts within you can shake you, or none of the opinions on the outside world can shake you. And that's what the point is. The point is that you are actually forcing yourself to get the best out of life. You are forcing yourself to put yourself in that mode of action where you are not allowing the world to dictate your life. You are literally allowing yourself to separate yourself from the crowd. You are allowing yourself to become the person that you have desired yourself to be. And internally, you will be making great strides. So there's a quote that says, to be the best, persist during the worst. I mean, that is such a great quote. I mean, if you just think about it, if you persisted in whatever it is that you're going after, and trust me, the persistence can only be really reflected when we're going through the worst times. Your real challenge is when you are going through that difficult period in your life, and that is when you are required to bring out the best in you. That is when it's required for you to get that action plan set for yourself. You have to deliver, and that's when you realize that you have to now begin to get on the move, on trying to figure out what it is that you have to go after. And once you decide what you have to go after, then be persistent towards it. And because that is the time that we actually begin, when we are at our worst, is when we begin to really think. I mean, there's a saying that most people don't even think. There's a psychologist that says that we really don't think until we are forced to think. And that is so true. That is so true. We really do not think until we are forced to think. So sometimes a crisis can really bring to us the opportunity to advance in our lives in a way we never could advance in our lives. And it also helps us to see ourselves from a different perspective that we never could have seen ourselves from. And that can help us tremendously if we go towards with that understanding, if we go towards life with that kind of an attitude, if we go towards life knowing that no challenge, no difficulty in your life can overtake your good in life, that your good in life is waiting for you. Your good in life is there. All you have to do is just change your attitude towards that which you have somehow developed in you. I mean, sometimes we get conditioned from a very young age, and that somehow ends up creating our state of mind. So what happens is that your state of mind is which sets up the mood for you, and that slowly and surely becomes your behavior, and that behavior then becomes a belief, and that belief then sets the course for your life. And it's nothing but a set of habits that you have developed in you, and you go through that gloomy or frustrated or depressed and angry state of mind which has been so rigidly fixed in you. What happens is that because of that, you go through life every day living like as if the worst is to come for you, and that's nothing but your state of mind which has been habitually allowed yourself to live on. It can change for you. It can change for you because when you realize that you set a goal for yourself, if you set a goal towards, so you see, people will, if the world is really simple, the world is going to give you that which you want. People will make way for you if you want something. If you are determined to get something, people are going to make way for you. And it has been shown in life over and over again. People have shown this with their ability to do that. Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, every one of them, all the greats have. The one thing that they have done is they have proved to us the fact that if we want something, and we so desire it for in the service of others, sometimes we have to give in the service of others. Rather than thinking from your point of view, I would suggest that you should begin to see your life from the point of view of the people, from the people who would you like to create a change for? What industry? If you're in your industry, what change can you bring in your industry that is going to help you to see your life from a place you never could have seen yourself from? you know, always think a little, our natural human nature is such that we are selfish. That's something that we cannot eradicate from our makeup. But what we can do is, if we allow ourselves to see towards the betterment of the future of your work that you are engaged in right now, then what's going to happen is it's going to help you to change that. All it requires is that little change in our thinking that helps us to see things differently. If you develop compassion towards your own work, towards realizing that the work that you do is somehow somehow gonna leave a legacy for you. It's gonna somehow give you the results that you need in your life. Then what's gonna happen is that you will develop an attitude, an expectant attitude about life. See, because we don't feel that we are gonna benefit from something, so we develop an attitude which is a very self-defeating attitude. That self-defeating attitude comes from a very selfish understanding of life, which means that if I'm not going to get this, then what's the point of really going after something? So the point is to develop an expectant attitude, and an expectant attitude can only be developed with a goal in mind. That means your attitude can be changed with once you set the goal for your life. That means that you have not set a definite aim in your life, and that definite aim, that vision for yourself, you have not created that future vision for yourself. You do not see yourself as a person who is doing something that you feel good about, that you feel great about, that you will feel fulfilled if you did that work. And if you find that work, if you just go after that work in your heart, if you just begin to feel how you would live differently if you were actually working towards that goal that you have set in your mind. And what's going to happen is that you're going to see yourself living that dream for yourself. You're going to see yourself doing those things. And if you begin to see yourself doing the thing that you love to do, and what's going to happen is it's going to change your attitude towards your life. It's going to make you more expectant of what the future holds for you. And that is exactly what you want. You want an enthusiastic, expectant attitude for your life. You want that. You want it. You want it because that's what's going to give your life. That's what's going to bring life to your life. And that is one of the reasons why you have to put a goal in front of you. That's why, because you're not living in the past. You don't have to live in the past. You have to absorb yourself to something that you love to do. And what's going to happen is eventually, once you set that goal for yourself and you develop that attitude for yourself, and if you stick to that plan, make persistence the key towards knowing that it can be achieved, what's going to happen is all of this is going to give you an internal power. You're literally building up internal power, because you see everything connects with everything. Once you have that goal, you see that attitude is very important. You see that, oh, I might have to develop that attitude, that good attitude, that expectant attitude to get to that goal that I'm going after. And then what's going to happen is, at the same time, you'll ask yourself another question. What if I don't end up getting to that goal? Then what's going to be required for me to get to that goal? Then you ask yourself, what is going to be required? And then you get the answer. Persistence is going to get me to that goal, no matter what happens, no matter how difficult the situation is, no matter what it is. And and then, all of these things are going to get developed in you. So, once you take the steps, once you take the journey for yourself in that development, in your self-development, what's going to happen is that all of these qualities are going to get embedded in you. They are all going to get embedded in you. And what's going to happen is that you will become a person that is going to reflect a vibration that is going to be so powerful that people are going to get attracted to it, regardless of whether you have reached your goal or not. So that's why people say, it's not the destination, it is the journey. That's why people say that. That's why I want to bring this up to you. I want to make sure that you are going after your goals, you're going after your things that you love to do, and that you are not settling for a course in life that is undesirable and unworthy of your true untapped potential, which is covered by your inadequacy to see your state of mind as one that has the capacity to uncover your personal power, to create your desired reality for you and change your environment, and which can hence change your life. That is what is going to bring forth your blessings in life. And I believe that in order to develop your persistence, what you love to do, what is required is that you put these 4 things up on your vision board and read it morning, noon, and night. Number 1, develop a definite purpose for your life, which is backed by a burning desire. And that is the number 1 thing. The second one is that you must plan, you must execute your plans, which is going to help you to achieve that desired goal in your life. Number 3, your mind must be tightly closed to all negative influences and discouraging influences, including your family, friends, and whatever it is. Just make sure that there's no one trying to tell you you can't do that, or you don't have the capacity to do it. And number 4 is ally yourself with one or more individuals who have the capacity to see your vision, that vision of yours, that you folks can work on that vision. What's going to happen is that vision is going to get more power towards your accomplishing that goal. It's going to get more vital power. And sometimes when we ally ourselves with more than one person, what happens is that we become a powerful force. So it requires perspective. You have to keep on listening to positive messages. You're going to have to listen to positive messages. If you are going towards your goal, no matter what it is, you have to make sure that you do not allow yourself to settle. Eventually what happens is that once we get so positively encouraged towards, going after that thing that we want. But what happens is eventually we become sidetracked by secondary things, and those secondary things somehow take up our entire time, all of our energy, and we just forget about that which we are going after. And here's what's really important is what's going to give you that edge over making sure that you're not delaying the whole process. And what's going to give you that edge is that if you stick to your plan in isolation, that means that if you just shut everybody out for a couple of months, it's going to give you that edge on developing yourself internally. Sometimes we are going after our goals, but we don't realize that we have to somehow get rid of some of the people in our environment. We have to sometimes shut off from the environment so that we can really focus, so that we can really become focused towards that which we want. We have to really concentrate on that goal so that we can have plans to reach those goals. And what's going to require to make those plans is somehow first to cut people out from your life that are not supportive, that are not encouraging, that are really just distractions. You just have to do that because of the fact that environment is what creates your realities. And if your goal is big, if your vision is a big one, then I believe that persistence alone isn't going to be helpful. You have to somehow cut people out from your life. So all of these things are required, because now you're changing yourself. You're really developing yourself. You're really putting yourself to test that what grit you have within you, what courage you have within you to really get that which you want. Sometimes we have to separate ourselves from the people that are not good for us, and it's very important. It is the most essential thing that you would ever do. And just make sure that you read it morning, noon, and night. That's the persistence formula. That persistence formula is going to give you an edge over everything else. This is somehow very important. So once you're developing your persistence, what you really have to do is that you have to make sure that those fears are somehow not interrupting your momentum. That sometimes what happens is that when we are striving and reaching towards that goal, our fears tend to make us lose our momentum. That those fears is somehow we get sidetracked by the fears in our lives. Our fears somehow sidetrack us from the goal that we are striving towards. So what we must develop and what we must do in those situations is that you have to remind yourself that why is it that you're going after that goal? Why is it that you are going after those things in your life that you so desire? Because that life is going to give you what? It's going to give you, what kind of a life will you live if you reached your desired goal? If you reached your desired goal, what kind of a life will you live? And somehow when we are reaching towards that place in life, that we must always remember the fact that it is going to require everything in you to reach towards that place in life. That you have to develop your mind to the point where you are strong enough. How do you become strong? How do you develop that strength, that inner strength, that you can overcome those worries, those fears, those doubts, those emotions that are somehow we have allowed them to have to be a part of us for so long? How do we take ourselves to the next step? How do we overcome them? And I'm saying that it is something that you have to be persistent, and persistence is somehow that works towards giving a good fight to those emotions. So persistence gives a fight to those emotions, and when you begin to challenge those doubts, those thoughts, so how do you do that? You literally allow yourself to not to buy into the worry, not to buy into the fears. Fear is somehow nothing but a signal. This is something that you have to overcome to have that which you want. So fear is not bad. Fear is not a bad thing. Most people think fear is bad. Fear is somehow, it is your own mind trying to tell you that you have to overcome it to get to that point where you want to be. That means that fear is somehow, it's like something that you are being told to change. You are being told to work on so that you can move past that. We don't have to be scared of fear. We just have to look at fear and work towards overcoming it. And we overcome it when we begin to understand things. When we build that right understanding in us, it helps us to overcome the fears in our lives. It helps us to overcome the worries in our lives. It helps us to overcome the doubts in our lives. And there's a saying by Jim Rohn. He says, believe your beliefs and doubt your doubts. And I think go with that. You always doubt your doubts. And if you keep on doubting your doubts, what's going to happen is eventually those doubts are going to get moved to the side. They are going to be at the edge of your life, and they're never going to ever bother you, because you have learned the understanding that always believe your beliefs and doubt your doubts. And right now, what you have to do is you have to develop those beliefs in you that are going to help you to create your reality for yourself. In order to create your reality for yourself, you're going to have to define that purpose, that goal for yourself. And if you do that, and it's a deliberate process, it's not something that's going to come. This is something that you have to develop from within you. You have to develop this quality from within you. It is a quality to always go towards that which you so strive for in the future. That means that, you must be continually living towards a goal in future. You must always continually live towards a goal in future. That means that your life will only be worthy if you have a goal in front of you and not behind you. And that is how you develop yourself. And once you reach that goal, make sure you have a goal after that, so you can go after other things after those goals that are going to help you, to give you that ability to see your life from a place of a continuous growth for yourself, a continuous journey to reach a place in your life that is going to give you the better understanding, there are higher truths available as you develop yourself. There are higher truths available that you can actually tap into. That means that the truth that you know right now is based on your belief system, and if those beliefs are changed, then you're going to know a higher truth than what you know right now. That means that you have to, in order to change your beliefs, you're going to have to first understand that you want your desires to be fulfilled. You want your heart's desires to be truly fulfilled for you, and in order to do that, it's going to require it's going to require it's going to require determination, it's going to require faith, it's going to require persistence, it's going to require action on your side. It's going to also require your inward courage. That means the ability to keep on fighting towards the place that you so desire for yourself. And it is all about that. And that's all I want to conclude. I want to conclude this podcast on just that. And that's what you have to do. Make sure that you persist during the worst. And that's how you're going to get to know who you are. And I'm going to see you in my next episode. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.